James Paul, single fastest car in time trial, shattering the previous track record with 1:20. How'd it go?
That around, they were on the Bilstein camera. James Paul had some sort of failure. It looks like a mechanical failure as the car is not moving. Not in a great place, so I think they're going to cover him with a waving yellow, and then they will.
I've seen people blow their motor on the side of the track, put a new motor in, and then go back on the track. I've seen some cars go so fast to where they come off the ground, like start flying.
It's just it's an adrenaline feeling. It's hard to describe. I guess the best way to really compare it is if you've ever been in a good fist fight, you know, that feeling when you square up with a guy and you know that there's no way that this is going to get settled other than knuckling up. And that's the feeling of the adrenaline as you're going down that front straightaway, you know, slowly and waiting for that green flag to drop. And as soon as that green flag drops, I mean, that's it. It's, you know, there's certainly rules out there, but you know, the courtesies and the friendliness and things of that nature are right out the window. It's a race. You know, everybody's going for, they're risking their lives, and they're going for whatever their personal goal was for that day, whether or not it was to win the race or win their class or just try to set a new personal best on that track. But, you know, everybody in that race, I would be willing to bet, feels that same way as they're getting ready to get up to that green flag. So my name is James Paul. I'm a race car driver. I'm just a lover of adrenaline-based sports. Well, I've never been to Roebling Road before. I've heard it's one of the fastest racetracks on the East Coast. Our ultimate goal was to try to figure out how to show up the very first weekend ever being here, learn the track, master the track, and figure out how to break the all-time track record. Doing the research, trying to figure out who has gone fastest here, and setting that as that bar, as that goal. That's our goal. We want to try to set records. And if we're successful with that, then people will certainly recognize us as belonging. When we come out to the track, we're here to try to win it all.
Well, we found a problem in the wiring, of course, that's running cylinder one. It's having some issues. It looks like it's just got some hairline cracking that's causing some, you know, intermittent problems with it. So we've adjusted it, I think, as much as we can without just kind of rebuilding it right now, and we're going to go see if it'll hold with what we've done. If it does, I'll run a full session. If it doesn't, I'll just bring it right back in and we'll start over. Part of the gremlins of prototypes, unfortunately. Got to figure it out on your own.
I've spoke to James a few times. This is the first time I met him. I met his dad last year. He came here for the first time. Very nice family. I enjoyed talking with him and watching him on the track. Dice cutting through the cars today. That was fun.
We took the car to Mid-Ohio last year for the NASA National Championships.
Shattering the previous track record with 1:20. How'd it go?
We had a lot of support to try to come and do something really special.
There's two different parts of the race group that are taking place throughout the day. There's a time trial for folks that are really just, they're not necessarily working on wheel-to-wheel racecraft. They're trying to avoid some of that, but they're really working on their individual lap times. And a time trial is a very precise thing. You cannot have a single mistake in a time trial, because if you do, you're disqualified. Any mistake, you're disqualified. That session won't count. It could be your fastest lap that you've ever turned in your entire life. And then the very next lap, you might have a little bobble and hang one of your tires off the side of the track. And that's it. Your entire session was disqualified. So time trialing is a very, very precise activity. And I really enjoy it because it makes you have to be perfect on the track. You have to be, you can't take chances like in a normal race that you're going to be forgiven for. In a time trial, there's, you have to do it absolutely perfect the entire time you're out there. Otherwise, you're penalized and you have to go out and try again.
Just lost it again. Cylinder. First cylinder is the wiring is not connecting and staying connected, so it's losing all the power. I think they're running off to get some new wiring pieces and looms and see if they can rebuild it as we're here.
Are you still going to be able to do a race?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's just a matter of trying to work through the system. I know that Kevin Scranny took off to go to see if he can find some parts and, you know, rebuild it. So of course, you know, a little disappointed because I don't really get a chance to learn the track. It's just, you know, we're sitting here, you know, farting. I mean, with the car not working, the challenge is certainly going to be impossible to accomplish. But we need the car to work so that I, as a driver, can learn the track and not have to be focused on so many other things in the car. Right now, I'm not even watching the track. I'm watching the computer in the car. I'm watching a bunch of, and I'm talking with the crew. So we're not really working on getting any better yet. We're trying to just get the car to function correctly first. But, like I say, part of racing, we'll get through it. We've got Stuart over here. Stuart, he's the main wrench on the car for the weekend and kicking ass. And we've got Kevin. Kevin is the crew chief. He's the mind behind this whole project. Terry over here. Terry is like the computer guru. He just understands every single piece of this car and all the electronics and how those things, you know, really work. And it's way above my head.
A loose wire that kind of vibrated out of where we had it. Right near his foot, where, you know, if it bangs around too much, it'll cause an issue. And it was the throttle position sensor. And so with an electronic system, that goes, it's not going to have throttle. So we just wanted to zip tie it out of the way, get it kind of cleaned up, make sure it's ready to go again.
Is this what you normally do?
Yeah, full-time job. I worked at the shop with Kevin and Terry, kind of the DPO2 mechanic there, and we have a fleet of Formula Enterprise 2 cars and Spec Racer 4 Gen 3s that a couple of our other guys do. but this is more my speed.
Yeah. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
The way that I got into racing was basically looking for a hobby to do with my father. It was 2014, and we decided to go out and go to a racing school in Pahrump, Nevada. And we got to drive Radical SR3s. We decided to go try and buy one of those cars and then enjoy and have fun as a father-son kind of hobby. And he was a really good dirt track racer, circle track, dirt cars, and they'd shoot man just sideways, and they were nuts. I remember very vividly watching my dad go end over end like a dozen times down the front straightaway and wondering, holy smokes, is he hurt? And sure enough, he just popped right out of that car ready to fix it and go again. And yeah, he was an animal. He still holds a track record that he set probably in the 80s at a track in our hometown, Stockton, the Delta Speedway, and learned everything I could from him.
What's your name?
I'm Jack Klepchik. I race Inspect Miata and CCA.
How old are you now?
I'm 18.
How long have you been racing?
About 3 years now. I started in 944, just doing track days and stuff. And I started racing Spec Miata at the beginning of last season.
Okay. Is that what you do full time?
So I work for an indoor rowing gym called Row House. I'm doing a lot of outreach, marketing and stuff for them. The goal is definitely to end up full-time racing. If not, then doing something coaching-wise or experiences for a manufacturer would definitely be the goal for me.
Something related to racing,
Correct,
cars,
yeah.
automobiles.
Yep.
What's it like to be a racer?
It's definitely an interesting kind of career. It's extremely exciting. There's a ton of work that goes into it, and it can be exhausting at times, but it's definitely the most rewarding career I could possibly choose. I absolutely love it all the time.
What are the risks? What risks do you have right now?
For me, mostly, it's money.
Yeah.
Money's a big risk because you're coming out and spending a lot of money and hoping to get just a fraction of it back. And of course, it can all kind of be taken away in a second, but you can always hope for the best for sure.
But do you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like 3 and all of a sudden I see your tracks and you're just in the swamp.
Yeah, I went big nasty there. I didn't realize the front bumper was off, but I'm pretty sure I went airborne. I was like, he's like, you can pull from the front. He's like,
Do a lot of these racers that come here, are they spending their, are they out of pocket basically?
Yeah, mostly all of these drivers are. They might have some sponsors, but none of them are here full-time, like as their full-time job. None of them are really getting paid as a career to do this. So this is still amateur racing. Some of them might be semi-pro, like I said, and have a few big sponsors, but nobody's out here, driving someone else's car.
So if you guys crash, you're pretty much assuming all the risk.
Correct.
Fixing the car, getting it running again.
That's right.
And then you have to pay to come back and race.
Yeah, fix a car and start all over again pretty much.
Yeah, he knows how to back up, man. I don't back up with those tires.
Oh.
That was my dad.
Oh, was your dad? Oh, okay. He's a racer too, right?
Yep.
What do you think that it's gonna, the damage repair?
It's not much.
What's the estimates, we think?
I think it's really just a bumper and headlights, and hopefully everything's okay with the engine.
What can I help you with? I'm just gonna push it back a little bit. Alright, that's good, that's good. Roll's good. Talking to different people here, a lot of them see you as a top dog.
I don't see myself as a top dog. I see myself as someone who's trying to fit in to an industry and to a racing world that I didn't come from and that I was not real familiar with. I think that I've been very blessed with my ability to go fast, very fast.
Nope, you have to let the system look at it.
To learn a track brand new in a matter of a couple of hours and be very competitive on that track. I think that I'm blessed with that ability.
I don't care about the lap times.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right, we'll change that. And I know boost pressure is fun to look at, but you really need to see that. Okay. So what am I doing? I'm going to leave boost.
But I'm still trying to figure out how to fit in and really be considered, you know, one of those staples in the racing industry. And, you know, I got a wonderful blessing this year with Titan Fuel Cells. Helped us get all the way over here from California to Georgia. You know, doubled our fuel capacity in our tow rigs. Certainly made that trip a tremendous amount better. Couldn't have done it without them. We really appreciate their help. And it's, you know, we hope that it's a start of more to come, you know.
What happened?
Started losing more power.
You still losing power?
Yep. Yeah, our cylinder problems seem to have jumped from 1 to 4.
It may not be racing because first it was the first cylinder that was going out, and now it's the fourth one. And you can't push a motor like that, especially racing. And if they can't fix it, then there won't be a race.
Not even tomorrow?
Maybe tomorrow if they can get it fixed. But right now, hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully it's the same problem, but luckily if it is, they know how to fix it immediately. Hopefully it is that problem, because they can fix it and they know what to do. But if they can't fix it, there will be no race. And if they can't prevent it from happening again, there will be no race at all in general. If we can't race today, then it will affect our numbers tomorrow for sure. It sucks. I feel horrible. He comes all the way from California to kick some ass. The wiring harness. They had to hand make it because this motor, I guess the motor's rare. It's a Mazda motor. I thought it was a Ford. Usually they put a Ford motor in these. It's a Mazda motor, but they had to hand make the wiring harness. And when you do that, sometimes they're very brittle. The first cylinder already went out due to the wiring harness, and now the fourth one's going out. There's only 2 left, so I would recommend just going ahead and fucking fixing all 3 of them before the other 2 go out. It's kind of scary because if you fix this one, you got 2 more that could go out. And by the way things are looking, 50-50, it's most likely going to happen.
Right. So they got to make a call?
Yeah.
To race or not to race?
try to fix it. If we can fix it in time, they're going to send the race. But the only problem is the only times we've been out there for maybe 10 minutes. The race is 30 minutes long. So it's more than double the time we put out there. And every single time we've been out there, something's broken. So it's kind of sketchy right now.
I started in the produce business when I was 9 years old, pushing a broom in an asparagus shed. My dad owns a company, Greg Paul Produce Sales, that has taught me, you know, pretty much everything there was to know about farming and produce and fresh produce sales and how that entire industry works. And I worked my way up through it. And, you know, eventually went to college, got a degree in international business management, moved into a produce sales role for some global companies. Spent about 10 years away from my family business, learning everything that I could from other companies that were doing the exact same thing that my father did. And then I came home with my wife, Noreen, and we started having children, and that was it. I've been with Greg Paul Produce Sales, with my father's company, ever since. I had the blessing and the ability to really tag along and just love the sport without having any real pressure on myself to have been involved. He was pretty quiet at times, you know. I think that he was a little bit, I think he was a little nervous. I think he was a little nervous for me here. I think it was a long trip. There was a lot of, you know, I didn't put that same type of pressure on myself that I think that he felt, but I think that, you know, it's a lot easier when you're the one in the car. You know, and I can imagine if it was my son out there in that car, I'd be pretty damn nervous.
People that came out here with, you know, a high stance in society would be like Paul Newman, and yep, Paul Newman came out here. He was a racer, and he was trying to show Tom Cruise the ins and outs of the race car, because when they created the movie Days of Thunder, you know, he gave him some insight to racing before they started filming.
Car ran, thank goodness. Car ran well. We turned to 104.8, which
104.8.
is 6/10 off of the Super Unlimited track record here. So we're going to go out for another session here in about an hour, and we're going to see if we can take those 6/10 off and set the new record. And we did the qualifying event right after that time trial, and we qualified first for the race. Finally, some very good results. Hopefully we can improve now that I'm getting a chance to actually learn the track.
Definitely got a few more laps than yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the key, is just finally getting an opportunity to really see the track without having to focus on the computer, focus on the steering wheel, focus on all the rest of the stuff in the car that we were worried about and are working on. And so, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of different lines that I think I can try, that I can see if I can shave some time. There's 2 areas in the track that I absolutely know there's a lot of time to be made up. So 6/10 should be doable. So we'll hope for the best and we'll go for it. Car looks good. Car feels good.
Me personally, I believe that that anybody that has the dream or the desire, I think has the ability. I think that there's millions of drivers on the roads here in America that have never ever had the chance. Racing is a very, very expensive sport. You know, we work our tails off in order to make enough money just to go out and do what we love to do as hobbies, and it's a very expensive proposition. And I think that there's a tremendous amount of people that have the skill set to be phenomenal champions in the racing industry. but they've never had an opportunity. Me personally, I believe that probably the best race car driver in America is driving a road grader someplace or a forklift in a warehouse. And I'll bet you that guy has got a better feel in the seat of his pants for a car than the guys that are spending millions of dollars today winning races. Man, my advice for the young guys that are coming up is just chase it. If you've got a dream, you got to chase it, because life's too short. You don't know when those dreams are going to you're not going to have the ability any longer. And I think that that's the key, is you just got to give it your 100%. It's got to be a real challenge that you're after in order to really have that feeling of accomplishment. If it comes easy, then it's, you know, it's not something you're going to be all that proud of. You know, you can't be afraid of failing. If you're afraid of failing, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get to where you really wanted to make it. If you're willing to fail, then you're in the right mindset. You know, and for the young guys, hey, I've only been doing this for a few years. I haven't been in a race car for an entire year. Last time I was in a race car was at Mid-Ohio, another track that was brand new to me, and that was September of 2019. So this was a wonderful event to come and get back in a car and get that adrenaline, and just the thankfulness, you know. Thankful to my parents, to Comfort Motorsports, to Titan Fuel Cells, to Mazda, to Elan, to Hoosier. There's some great companies that make some awesome stuff that give us this opportunity to enjoy and just love life. You know, most importantly, the man I talk to every time I get on the track, Lord Jesus Christ. I pray every single day, every single time I get on that track. You don't know if it's the last time.
Got a little loose. Okay.
How's he doing?
Lapping everyone. I think he's almost lapped everyone 2 times now.
Wow.
He's probably coming down here in about 170-ish. He's taking the corners at almost like 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. Maybe more, I don't know. He's almost lapped everyone 2 times. I can tell he's much more comfortable now. And after that first lap, his tires were warm, the track was getting hot, and he's good now. He's comfortable. I just got word from one of the refs that he's doing 104 right now. Really? Like 4.2 seconds away from beating the record for this track time.
The all-time world history.
World history at Roebling Road Raceway. He's like 4 point something seconds away from beating the record. All day yesterday he wasn't really having the best of day because the car kept breaking. Today the car is running great and he's coming close to beating the record. I can see that he's definitely got the potential to do it now.
He's definitely got it. He's gonna be that close. I've never seen this happen.
Really what's next is to figure out how and when to come back to actually accomplish this goal. You know, at a 104.8, we're about 5 seconds off, but we were making some really big steps while we were here. I mean, our first session out, I think we were in the 110 range. Our next section out, we were, you know, 5 seconds off of that. So we were certainly making the right moves.
Update me, how'd you do?
I thought we did pretty good. I don't know what any kind of lap times were, but it was just a bunch of highway driving out there, just cars everywhere.
I think out here on the racetrack, there's a tremendous amount of lessons to learn. There's, you know, you got humble pie that you got to eat, and then there's times in which you feel like you're on top of the world. So I mean, there's just an enormous swing of emotions that take place out here.
So we won the race. They gave us a little bit of grief for not coming to impound. Normally we're not supposed to.
What were they doing there?
Just checking, wanting to make sure everything's legal and everything's legit.
And the key,
The car doesn't have those.
to me, and how it applies to real life is dealing with those emotions, understanding how, you know, how to handle yourself at the top of the world, how to handle yourself when you're on the bottom, and when things just aren't working or you're getting disqualified and you know, being told that you're you know, doing something wrong. And the key is just like in life, you've got to be consistent. You've got to roll with the punches. You know, whether or not it's a great day or a bad day, you've got to be consistent. You've got to make the best of it, regardless. And I think that certainly, I've taken a lot of lessons out of racing that have really highlighted that in my personal life.